Hey, what's up, guys? It's Ben. Today I'm coming to you with another video, and today I'm going to be talking to you about a book called The Teeming Universe. So, The Teeming Universe is a speculative biology book, like what would happen if there's life on other planets. I've covered some kind of topics on speculative evolution, biology, and stuff like that before, and I've had this book for a while. This is by Christian Cline. And I like it, and I think it's really entertaining and a good look at what potential life could be like. I'm going to try and do just a short overview, not go too deep. Probably show a lot of pictures. Hopefully I can talk in long enough to cover that. But anyways, I just find this book really interesting, and so we're going to get started off. There's some stuff in the beginning that's some good to look at. So if you're really interested in this kind of thing, you should really just buy the book instead of just looking at me displaying this stuff. But at the same time, I think this would be a good place to start. And so the first thing that we're going to start off with is the number one planet, Menhir. Doesn't have a ton of life on it. Well, I mean, it does, but it doesn't have... I'll explain in 1 second. It's got an oddly stagnant volcanic core. It's far weaker than it would normally be, and subsequently more ultraviolet radiation from the system's host star hits the planet. It's slightly older than Earth. Menhirophiles, there are a bunch of different, I would say, subspecies in this. It isn't merely just one kind, and I will show those real quick. But they are microscopic organisms. They're bacteria, the prokaryotes and the eukaryote. Ateria. Ateria is the only life-supporting planet in its solar system, composed of silicates primarily, and superficially it appears to be much more Earth-like. We're going to start off this one, Fisher crane, the sturge. It looks very mushroom-like, but it's not. It's actually woodland. It is a plant, confirmed, and that's what it says in the book. Blacktail marsh noodle. Here's a quick one. Mostly I'm going to be sharing pictures. They're aquatic predators, live in lakes and streams of the forests in central and southern Myrna. Let's move on to the next planet. Planet number 3. Toria. There's an endless ocean. It's a very aquatic planet. I will show cool, because there's fish, more or less. Or fish-looking like creatures. Anyways, here we go. Where's it at? Oh, heaven kelp. Heaven kelp, 750 feet long is what they can reach. And those are just really cool. These, but the top half of the plant features large green leaves with photosynthesized using the slightly brighter sun's light of this planet. All right, let's take a quick look at the Oone. Largest invertebrates. Fully grown anubes can reach 250 feet in length, and they're filter feeders. I believe they're like jellyfishes on Earth. Jellyfy. I don't know what the plural is. Anyways, so yeah. Anyways, that's a cool one. Planet Toria. It's the planet's sky, composed primarily of nitrogen, oxygen, sulfide, is sandy brown or dull blue color as a result of the air molecules Rayleigh scattering the host star's slightly weaker light. All right, and here's a picture of one of the most fearsome predators, is what it says, Hellerine. They can grow up to 5 feet long from jaw to tail, and they eat meat, occasionally carrion. Hunt in packs. That's another point of interest. They hunt in packs. Skeeta, which they fundamentally fill the same role as Terra trees, so Terra would be Earth. For the purposes of water conservation, the tree's leaves are also covered in slightly waxy coating, as this helps prevent excessive evaporation during the dry season. Hercelian, all right, it's enormous to say the least, a world about halfway between the masses of planets Earth and Uranus. Uranus is a huge planet. And it's sort of a hybrid between terrestrial and gaseous planets. All right, we're going to keep moving. Oh, this is a very air-based planet, and this one's really cool. Let's show the Oone. It looks like a giant jellyfish, except it's up in the air, and it floats, and it fills itself with the air. gases, and it has evolved to live above ground. Um, it possesses no fins, blood, or even a brain, and all they do is ride along the planet's strong air currents with little effort. They have a symbiotic relationship with these creatures, right? They're big floating things that provides a lot of good protection, because it's like this big thing floating through the air, and these animals hang on. This, it is a common chemotroph. It's called the hellperchant. There are many plants, aerial foliage. Aerial foliage exists above the surface of Oone. Here's the first animal. Lorian Claryx. So it says a magnificent creature that can occasionally be seen flying across the cool meadows of lore. Its particular species. All right, Sostobi. They look kind of like they're grazers, and they look kind of rhinoceros, buffalo-esque. And then here's one. I'm going to show a picture of this guy's face. This is the next planet, so I'm moving on to the next planet. Anyway, so the next planet, Krelion, if I said that correctly. Here's what the planet looks like. And it is the most interesting one because it appears to be abandoned. This is one of the ones I probably read the most about because I just find this concept really interesting. As it seems to be an abandoned planet that was mined to the point to where they left. And we're not really sure where they come from, who they are, or whatever. They do have some remnants, and then there's the pictures that you see right here of some of their infrastructure, and I'll show other parts in a minute of some of the creations that they've made. Here's an art ship, which is this is one of their largest machines. These Titans are like over 8 times the size of the International Space Station, these art ships. We haven't been able to analyze really the compositions of the art ships. It's been largely inconclusive. Their substance seems to be what is known as Crelium, which is not really, we don't really know what it is. Standard model, no classification. They're kind of the big workers, the workhorses of these. It's spherical, dull gray, and is putty-like in texture. It is able to float slightly above the ground by unknown means. Scouts, right here, this is a scout. These machines are able to travel at super luminal speeds to travel between worlds in mere minutes, and they're able to stop and turn on a dime. And then that will be it. So we're moving on to Sleece. It's incredibly unique that it is a habitable planet with no moon. It has no moon. Let's see if I can find some animals. Xanthire, 8 feet from proboscis to tail. Smaller terrestrial and aquatic animals. That's what it feeds on. They lay eggs. Teagia. The Teagia are the equivalent of trees. Life on Sleece hasn't occupied land very much compared to Earth. And as a result, many of the more complex and evolutionary recent plants on Earth don't have comparable equivalents, with most species reaching only a few inches high. And that is it. So we're moving on to Barold. Like all terrestrial planets in the Borean system, the planet is the super Earth, and specifically Barold measures at 2.82 times Earth, the Earth's mass. The planet is geologically more active than Earth, and this results in higher content of atmospheric carbon and methane. Here's a Barold star. This is a creature on the planet. Largest animals on the surface of the planet, and like the largest animals on Earth, they're gentle giants. They're about 30 feet long. Here's an example of Barold stars. They have different compositions, different ways that they look. That is a Valian osier. It's supposed to be a tree, at least for this planet. Tavati. And this is probably one of the bigger parts of the book. The first moon visited along her journey looks like Earth's distant, smaller cousin. So it's a moon. Teta is its parent planet. And so we're going to take a look at this, but it looks like a close and analog to Earth. Analyzing the moon's history revealed quite the opposite. As recently just as 4 million years ago, the small moon was struck by a stray asteroid, wiping out more than 75% of the world's life. So yeah, let's take a look. Here we go. And Tavati, Tavat. These things look cool. They're 30 feet tall from arm to foot. One of the most magnificent and well-known creatures. A titanic descendant of small creature that survived the mass extinction. Are in many ways comparable to Earth's giraffes. And I can see that. Brickerback and blue flyer. Skip that. Okay, so here is the last planet, Yaitu. And this is the most interesting because it has what it looks like intelligent life. It is intelligent life. So, Tavati's plains, after you spend time there, that's what it says, because this is supposed to be like a field guide. Anyways, the fifth, okay, so Yaitu is the only world with native life on its surface, and this planet is very special within its star system. So it's the fifth world in its star system. Yaitu is the only with native life on its surface. So Yaitu, while being the only inhabitable planet within the solar system, is even more special because Yaitu is home to intelligent species, right? Over the last 450,000 years, the Yaituans have developed sentience in over hundreds of millennia. They developed from a hunter-gatherer lifestyle to sedentary agriculture, and there's a lot of interesting stuff in here. They're very much so insect-like. They have 1, 2, 3, so what appears to be 3 sets of legs. They look like this. And they've had a rich history, which I'm not going to go into a lot. But they've colonized planets, and they've traveled across the universe. Here's a list of many of the faces, is what they say, of the Yaitu people, and the different planets that they've colonized. And they about put their planet to extinction, but then now they're recovering. Fat are similar to trees. And then we're heading back to Earth. So anyways, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. This book is really interesting to me, and if you have any interest in speculative evolution, biology, whole 9 yards, really should consider reading this book. It's really fun and it's very interesting, and I think he does try to take some sort of a scientific look with also not getting too bogged down to very specifics that turn it into just like the whole book could have been theoretically, if you're playing in a very realistic world, just bacteria, like the first planet, and that first one was fun. Maybe, who knows? Anyways, so I just thought that book was interesting, so I'd share it with you and show some of the pictures and talk about it a little bit. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you watching this video. This is a topic I really appreciate. And please like, comment what you thought of this topic, and subscribe. I'll see y'all later.